Now, violence has once again broken out in Hong Kong after pro-democracy demonstrators attempted to march through the city in defiance of a police ban. Riot police have fired tear gas at protesters and arrested several people. Earlier, thousands had gathered in the centre of the city for the latest anti-government demonstration. Now, authorities had approved that rally as long as participants stayed in one location, but police did warn that they would stop anyone attempting to march. Well, our correspondent Sarah Clarke is joining me now live from Hong Kong. Sarah, we've been seeing these pictures of what looks like quite a bloody crackdown on today's rally. What's been happening there?
Well, it started as a peaceful gathering. Thousands were assembled in part of central Chater Garden. Now, the organisers of this particular march had requested to actually leave that particular location and go towards Causeway Bay, but the police denied that request. And as a result, they've gone ahead with the march, or the rally, I should say, but they started to march. And this is where the police said they will move in and try and disperse the crowds if they start to block roads. And that's exactly what happened. Parts of central, very busy thoroughfares, 2 or 3 lanes started to be blocked. You might be able to see behind me. Now the people have got about 500 metres down the road and they've been met with a police line. We've got hundreds of riot police have been deployed today to try and disperse these crowds to stop this march going ahead. We've only heard behind me, we've got some rowdy kind of chanting and yelling at the police at the moment, but we've had a few rounds of tear gas fired in central at Chater Garden. We've also had some sponge grenades being fired as well. And as you mentioned, there have been a number of arrests. But the police have said all week that if this march does go ahead, they will move in, and they have.
Sarah, we're seeing this increasing crackdown, and it's now been nearly 8 months of unrest. There seems to be no end to this impasse. So where to from here?
Well, certainly we're seeing a bigger crackdown by the police on these rallies, on these gatherings and the protests. A number have been denied in recent months. We've also got the very busy Chinese New Year festival, which begins this week. This is an annual festival. It's a big celebration in Hong Kong. We've got traditional fairs and events over about 2 weeks, but a number of those fairs have been banned. There's extra security at those festival locations that are going ahead. But the police, as I mentioned, they're starting to crack down on these protests. And we've seen increasing amounts of violence, or certainly clashes, between some of the hardcore protesters and the police over recent months. We had a big rally on New Year's Day here in Hong Kong, and Sunday is the first time we've seen tear gas fired since that New Year's Day rally. But certainly we're seeing an increasing clampdown from the police on the go-ahead of these protests and also the number of arrests.
Sarah Clarke there, live for us in Hong Kong. Thank you very much, Sarah. Do stay safe.